Hello there and welcome to My Uncle Works at Nintendo. I'm Will and my uncle works at Nintendo.
I'm Brandon and my uncle works at PlayStation.
I'm Saf and my uncle still works at Nintendo.
I'm Mina and my uncle is currently homeless.
You know, I feel like
Oh
there
my
is a
God.
building narrative with Mina's uncle.
Yeah,
He's lost his job several times now. He's homeless.
and now he's homeless.
And
the
I
job
think
market's rough, Actually, not really,
it's-
but,
it's been a while. Yeah, actually not really. But I think me and Brandon's uncles were both direct causes of your uncle losing his job. So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
that's life, you know?
Yeah, it happens.
Do we need a GoFundMe page for Mina's uncle right now?
Yeah, I mean, what better social safety net than just online fundraising? We're going to talk about the upcoming video game releases for the summer, right? What you can be playing while you're sitting by the pool, if your pool is connected to a television, I guess. As well as going over some E3 moments and also maybe touching on when is the Switch going to die? When are we going to be through with this stupid thing?
Oh my god.
But first, we're gonna first check in. We're halfway through the year. E3 is the halfway point. You know, it is.
It is.
How has 2021 treated you so far?
In terms of video games?
Yes, yeah. To be more specific, in terms of video
very,
games.
very
Okay.
important distinction.
Yeah. I would say actually, I pretty good, honestly. For me, at least, I was looking at the games I've played so far that have specifically came out in 2021. I cheated on one. I counted Omori because it came out December 25th. So it came out on Christmas, so that counts.
Yeah, but
So far, I really like the games that I played this year. I've played some good games in 2021. Just to list a few: Omori, Resident Evil 8, It Takes Two, Ratchet and Clank, Famicom Detective Club, Pokemon Snap. So there's been a lot of good games that I've played this year, and looks like the second half of the year is going to be probably even better. So yeah, not bad so far.
mm-hmm.
I would echo similar
Nice.
feelings, honestly. I've had a pretty good year so far when it comes to video games. I mean, Monster Hunter Rise alone is like, that I put in, 150 hours or almost that number already,
a lot of that in 2 weeks.
A
Just
lot of that in
nothing
2
but
weeks,
Monster
still.
Hunter.
But, Monster
Yeah,
Rise,
that's a compliment to it.
I like that. It was just a great game, and I feel like I've had something to play pretty much every month, and that streak looks like it's going to continue till the end of the year, especially, or really only on Switch, I should say, not especially.
Sure.
But I don't know. Like with my Switch in particular, I'm very happy this year.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Oh,
no, go ahead, Seth.
I personally can't remember what I played in January, but I know like Game Pass has been taking a lot of my time, so I'm grateful for Game Pass at the very least, and playing just getting access to a huge library of content to just fucking explore.
Yeah,
This is the
recent
first
convert.
time you had Game Pass, right? Like you subscribed to Game Pass for the first time this year, so that's a pretty.
Yeah,
That's pretty
That
good.
is its own
It's one of those-
significant purchase.
yeah. I mean, it was a long time coming. Like it was obviously like from like all the past stuff they did. I was eyeing it up quite a bit.
Right.
It was just like an inevitability at this point. And this year I had an excuse to get Game Pass, and I did, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah, it's. I think this year doesn't have, because for the last couple of years, like by this point in 2017, we had Breath of the Wild. 2018, we had like God of War, right?
Yeah.
Last year there was Last of Us Part 2. There isn't that like game that is clearly the game that will be like in the awards thing.
You're
right?
not getting
And,
the big Goldie winner yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if we will. Period. This year, right? The big one.
Yeah.
I think for Game of the Year, I think this year is going to be like all sorts of different games are going to win. I don't think there's going to be a real consensus one this year.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like it's partially the discourse, right? Like when
Yeah.
we say Game of the Year, what I mean the thing that is like talked about all the time. And because of that, it's freed up a lot of space for a lot of other games to sort of get the chance to shine, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing ultimately. A game like Ratchet and Clank, right? Like, I'm not disqualifying it in any way. I love Ratchet, but traditionally that wouldn't be Sony's big release for the first half of the year, right? But that game got a lot of love and attention, and it sort of has reflected in how it's been received. So I think that's cool. But we're done with that. That actually, all the stuff that's been coming out sucks. We only live to anticipate. We don't live to look back. So we're gonna talk about the games that are coming out in July and August. All right, and we're gonna every one of you when we won't do every single game. We're using Game Informer's list of upcoming major releases. So if there's something there, don't blame them. Don't blame us. We have no culpability. But I want each of you to give your personal how pressed you are personally to pick up this game, right? 5 is I'm dropping everything. I'm taking time off work, right? And 1 is you couldn't pay me. I will not pick it up on the free Epic Games service if it's day 1.
I don't think that's a game.
Well, let's find out.
Well, maybe, actually.
So actually we're going to cover things that just came out because we've actually had a pretty decent week of releases for video games. First up, Mario Golf Super Rush. We will have been playing this by the time that you are hearing
listening.
Yeah. Reviews just came out today, and they reviewed like a Mario sports game, right? It's in the 70s.
Big surprise.
Yeah. How do we feel about it though? And are we looking forward to it?
But people don't.
I'm like at a 2, honestly. It's pre-installed on my system, so that sounds stupid as shit. But I don't know. I'm not like, oh my god, I gotta play Mario Golf. I'm looking forward to playing it, but I'm not like, oh, I have to play Mario Golf.
When your friend's at you, do you want to play? That's when you will play. Yeah,
that's when I'll play. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
2 seems reasonable for me as well. I haven't gone as far as Mina, so it's there. I can see it, but I haven't downloaded it or anything like that. But it's not Mario sports games don't really grab me that much or take my attention.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm like a 4 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mario Golf. Out of all the sports games, I think Mario Golf's my favorite, just because I like golf video games.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it looks fun. It's I like the new mode, speed golf and shit. That looks fun, and I know that I've already saw some of the reviews saying that the story mode was just kind of not the greatest, but I kind of expected that, so I'm not really that let down by that news anyway. But we'll see. I'm just looking forward to playing it online with you guys and stuff. So yeah, I'm a 4. I love Mario Golf, so let's go.
Uh-huh.
Let's go.
So next one is a new IP. Scarlet Nexus. Do you remember this game?
I vaguely do, yes.
This is the anime game that kept showing up at Xbox events.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the thing that's notable about it.
Yeah.
Is that the Bandai one?
Yes, it's Bandai Namco, yeah.
Come on, an anime game, you think it's going to be any other publisher,
The thing that caught me off guard about this game, though, is this game got 9s from, big websites.
Yeah.
It's in, the 80s, right? The low 80s. But there's a group of people that are like, this is actually very good. Which I did not think would happen for this video game.
I have it on high authority that Harada, these were fraudulent reviews.
Okay.
Okay. Your uncle told you that?
My uncle, that's why do you think he's homeless? He's undercover right now.
Harada said the Yakuza after him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well,
So I assume, is there anyone that's above a 1?
Yeah, I would say 2, right?
Sure.
Well, you said 1 is I wouldn't fucking
3.
take this game for free, so that's...
Sure, maybe I said the thing too low.
I don't think he literally meant that.
How about 0 is I wouldn't take this game for free? But
sure, okay.
I would say I'm a 2 for this game, because I'm kind of a weeb, and I like anime stuff. So it's and then I would say I was probably a 1, but then I'm a 2 now that I saw the reviews. They keep an eye on it, okay, maybe,
Mm-hmm. Well, this game...
I'm a 3 for this one.
3?
Oh, you're at a 3?
I'm a 3 for this one. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Sappho's
Okay.
anime.
Wait till it comes to
That
Game Pass. Sap.
loves anime.
Just wait for Game Pass.
I'm at a solid 1, but in the inevitable Switch port in 2 years, I'm at a 2.
Ooh.
This game could be ported to the Switch in 2 years at $60, right? And it could have been on Game Pass for like 18 months, and she wouldn't have batted an eye. But as soon as it's $60 on Switch, she's like, "Oh, okay, all right."
Well, I gotta pick it up.
What is wrong
I
with your
can dig
ass?
it, you know?
What is wrong? If you didn't have Game Pass, I would understand this.
Yeah, look, the beauty of playing a video game on
Imagine
handheld-
the xCloud. Imagine that.
You know, I mean, xCloud is nice, but it's
Get
not
a
the
fucking
same, you know?
phone clip.
And you do also stream a lot of things to your iPad already.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You know, but nothing hits the
Oh,
spot
God.
quite like the Nintendo Switch, you know?
You're so dumb.
Also, perhaps very dumb, Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny. Now, this is a franchise that was going to die until the re-release on Switch did a lot better than they thought it would. And now it's only on Switch. It's not even on PC, which is probably a mistake.
Single-handedly saved the franchise. Wait, that's not true, is it?
I know that they said that they were doing a mobile game, and they thought Disgaea would live on mobile. So I guess I should say
That's wild,
console.
though. I didn't know that it wasn't done. Well, I imagine it'll come to PC just later. That feels like a for sure. The weird thing about this game, it is on PS4, but in Japan only, which is
whoa.
very bizarre.
That's bizarre.
I mean, there's nowhere that the PS4 has been doing better than Japan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I don't know, does that make that so strange? Like, the PS4 is so weak in Japan, and that's the one region where it's releasing. But that probably points to the fact that Disgaea 5 in the West probably only sold anything worth a damn on Switch. Like, you know. I'm sure the PC version did pretty good as well. But, you know, like, Disgaea, yeah, like, the Switch is why this franchise still exists. And so that makes sense. But I'm at a 1. I don't care about Disgaea. Like, if it... You know, one day when it's cheap, maybe I'll be like, you know what? Why not? Right? But up until then,
I'm at like a 3. I'm probably the only one that cares, to be honest, but I played 5 on PS4. I was one of the only people. But I kept thinking, this is a game that you're used to, like the PSP, right? Disgaea games, it makes sense, right? For it to be on a handheld, so it makes sense. If it was on anything else, I would still be playing on Switch, you know?
yeah.
I
find the art style off-putting. You know?
I did enjoy the first game on the PSP. Like, I played through that. It was quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably be like a 2 on this one.
Okay.
Okay. I like the art style. One, I think is cool. I like penguins a lot, but despite all that, and I feel like Disgaea would be a game that I would really like when I was 16 years old.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%.
When you have time to pour into it.
Yeah, exactly. But nowadays, like, I'm just completely disinterested. Like, it's like a 1 for me. But it's like one of those things where it's like, I would have liked this a lot at one point. I wish I still liked it now, but I just know that I wouldn't. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so now we're gonna move into July. The first new release that I would say is major is July 9th, a game we've seen a lot of. Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin.
1.
I'm at a 2 again. I don't think I've been higher than 2 yet.
No.
You're excited to play with some monsties?
God, the term "monsties," I hate it.
I think it's very funny.
So bad.
I wish they called it Monty Honey instead.
The Monsty Hunt.
Monsty hunting.
Oh my god.
Monster Hunter
That would be
Stories
amazing.
is a game, like, it looks neat, like the especially for a Switch game, it actually looks really good, like, graphically, right?
Mhm.
The art is very nice. It has a big, very, like, open place for you to run around in. But God, JRPGs, man, who has time for them?
Hey, yes,
Me.
exactly.
Me. I love games that are just Pokemon ripoffs. I'll play the most bargain bin to the highest budget. So like this game's like a 3 or like a 4, right? I don't know. It all depends on like you said, time is going to be the issue with these games, but I'm interested a lot in it. Next up, this one got announced this week, folks, but I'm putting it on here. Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Is that not on Game Pass?
Yeah, it's
on
Game Pass. And then I guess a 3 because I'm probably gonna play.
Same.
I mean,
oh wait, does it have?
I don't know if it has online co-op
player?
though, which is kind of my worry, but still, it's free.
I suppose this is the very definition of the zero because it's on Game Pass. I do not care to download this game. Come on.
I just love to include
Space Jam.
It's maybe the only licensed game on this list. I think it is actually, and so I think it's very funny to check in on them.
You mean come on? It's free.
Yeah, I don't care enough to download it.
It's Space Jam.
There is also the cost of time and bandwidth. On the planet.
Saf and I are boomers, so we care about Space Jam, So
look,
hell yeah!
No. I love Space Jam. Don't turn this into something it's not.
No. You okay?
I love
Bill Murray
let me
and
correct
Michael
the
Jordan did a great thing.
We love
Michael Jordan's dead now. He died in the Space Jam too. He's dead.
Space Jam, not the same without the GOAT. That's my official stance on Space Jam 2.
Now you might say, Will, you should have put this first because it's coming out the same day. I didn't. The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword HD is also coming July 16th.
Which game am I going to play that day? Damn.
Well, yeah.
Oh shit!
So you got to decide.
I got to decide.
That's intense.
Oh my god! I feel like this should be a higher one for me. But honestly, like a 3. I almost said 2, but I can't put it lower than Space Jam. That would just seem ridiculous.
That's not on the other hand.
I put it at 3, to be honest with you.
No, a 3? Okay.
Yeah.
So, it should be noted, you fucking hate the original. So,
yes.
I think that's somewhat notable that you're at
now, so what is your approach while hanging into Skyward Sword HD as a man that hates the first one?
Pray to God they fix the problems of the first one.
Yeah.
And then just improvise the rest. Let's see where it goes from there.
Okay. What would be fixing the problems?
I trust Nintendo to fix stuff like making the text move faster. Stuff like stop giving you notifications every 2 seconds when you get the fucking messages from feed. That's the notifications. Stop reminding you that you got an item every time you have to restart the fucking console or restart the game. It's like, hey, look, remember this item that you got last game? Now you can get it again. Check this out. Stuff like that. Just make it go faster. Just, I don't know how they're going to chop and fucking clean up the tutorial phase, but I hope to God that they just fucking speed the fuck out of that.
You mean the beginning of the game?
Yeah,
okay.
Beginning of the game.
I've
seen some of the bosses. I don't know how some of the bosses are still going to be bad.
You didn't even get there. Fucking... You don't know how bad they are if you didn't get there, Saf. Okay, I've
seen the fucking Kraken one.
About the bosses.
I've seen the fucking Kraken one. I already know how goofy that fucking thing is.
Wait, about the Kraken? I've never.
Wait, the Kraken? I thought you were talking about
if you were talking about the imprisoned or even gear game, I would understand more.
The prison, yeah, I've experienced that one, but I'm seeing like one of the later ones, like
stupid.
the fucking.
Ooh.
I've seen how goofy that one is. It's ridiculous. There's no way.
I think that's very funny.
I'm even more upset now about how you feel about Skyward Sword.
Okay, so how do you feel about it?
Somehow, inexplicably, I'm lower than Saf. What is happening? I'm at a 2, but let me tell you why. I played this game 10 years ago once.
Right.
And I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was phenomenal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the 10 years since, I have internalized so many of the problems that people have with this game that I feel like I'm not going to enjoy this game as much because I'm just going to be thinking about those flaws. And maybe they've done a good job of cleaning a lot of that stuff up, and a lot of it is easy to clean up, right? Like Saf said, like fixing the tags.
Yeah.
And
They have
like that.
said that fee and messages have been changed, but no specifics of how. So we'll find out maybe when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the biggest thing, the thing that I did notice when it came out was like when you would like catch a butterfly, and then you'd close the game, and then you'd open the game and catch the same type of butterfly, and it would stop to tell you what it was, as if you got it for the first time again.
Well, that's all automatically kind of fixed by just sleep mode, right?
Yeah, but if I close the game and go back to it, I don't want to see that prompt again. Come on,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you do that.
Maybe I do.
You know, my greatest passion in life is when people say that they have a problem with something, me saying no, it's not a problem. So Skyward Sword HD is just a perfect opportunity.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course. But
so that's why it's a 6 out of 5.
6 out of 5. Yeah, I'm at it too, though. I'm looking forward to it, but yeah.
All right. Next up, we have the only Stadia release that I see on this, Chris Tales. Remember this indie game? Looks very pretty. That's coming out July 20th. Huh?
Oh.
I'm super interested in this one.
5.
5.
5.
Wow.
Staff's taking off work
Yeah.
for Chris Tales.
Staff, you got that shit downloaded already on your Xbox?
Yes.
He does.
100%. It's already pre-installed.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it's on Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is
day
a
one.
100%.
Man.
It looks like a really fun RPG.
does.
Like, it's stylish as shit. Like, I like the past and future system that they got going on. Like, it looks like it's going to be really fun.
Wow.
Well,
I'm gonna say 3.5. Can I say half? Is that a thing that we're allowed to do in this?
We'll make
Why
it a
not?
10-point scale. I love 10-point scales, so yeah.
Okay, 3.5.
I'm at a solid 1.
Wow.
I played the demo. It was all right, but like nothing that it didn't even grab my attention enough to finish the demo, let alone play through the whole game of it.
I'm at a 4.
Yeah, there we go.
Bring up the average. After me, and I just tanked. Jim Sterling, the Metacritic of Chris Tales. Hey, you know what's coming up on the 27th of July? This is technically already out, but I'm gonna say it's different. The Xbox Series version of Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Okay.
One of the best reviewed games of last year.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say 3.5 on that one too.
Gotta say 2.
Say 5 stars, baby.
Okay, what?
This
Really?
This is what I'm here for. You know.
Taking a day off. Taking a day off.
Get the fuck out of
They
here.
have to go
Get the
flying.
fuck out of here.
This is you know what? I'm ready to take to the skies. I don't know if I like this game, but I'm super intrigued by it. It's so pretty. So many people have said so many good things to say about it, but like I've never wanted to install it because I hate the Game Pass PC app. Now it's on Xbox. Why not? I'm
Okay.
down. I'm super down to play this. Dude, let's just chill out and fly places. Why not?
Fair enough.
You know,
Looks fun.
if you cry at the trailer for the game, you have to give it a 5. That's the rule. The same day, so you may have to make a choice. Neo: The World Ends with You.
4.
4. Okay.
I got a 3. It looks like I like The World Ends With You a lot, like a lot, right? And we're gonna be playing it for the Game Club soon. Hey,
Yes.
Hey.
very timely. But this is very different from the original game. Very different from the original game. And so I don't know how it's gonna turn out. It could be a disaster for all I know, which sounds like an exaggeration, but you never know with Square.
I believe in Nomura.
Me too.
That's how you unsell.
Famous last words.
No, well, he's not. He's just doing the art direction, right? He doesn't.
Yeah,
That's
I
also
think
the thing with The World Ends with
Isn't
You.
he like the writer as well for it, or is he like a producer? I need to double check.
When I saw the credits for The World Ends with You when I was playing it recently, Nomura's name showed up less than I thought it would.
Well,
He was
that
less
was for
involved
the
than you believe.
yeah, but that was for the original game. But I think for the new game, he is much more involved, and so
Okay.
You know, like no, there's no one there to hold him back anymore. He's too powerful now. You know, so you know,
No, I'm
there's
in
a
a
lot of ways
place
that could go.
where
The shackles are off.
where because I've been playing it for the game club, I've been reminded of how much I like The World Ends With You. And I told Mina this the other day, I'm now in the room where I can be hurt again by the sequel being bad. Right? So like a 4 because I knock off one out of fear of being hurt, you know?
Yeah,
That's my thing.
That's
But I will say, I watched trailers for it because people have been linking them. They've been doing kind of a marketing push, not really for this game, but it looks better than I thought it did at first glance when it first got revealed. There's stuff I wish I hadn't found out, to be honest. Like, returning characters that I thought would have been fun returns without checking. But I'm intrigued, more so than I was when this game first got announced, I guess.
Yeah, I think the game has potential to be really great. Actually, like one of my favorites to come out this year. But I just, I'm not going to go in expecting that though, because that's just foolish. You know.
Mm-hmm. It's also one where I don't know if I will even look at reviews, to be honest. Like,
sure,
it's one where I feel like it can very much just line up with you or not, and like I wouldn't disagree with either take, you know. Coming up though, technically 2 releases. That's weird. I didn't know that they're listing as 2 separate releases. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles and the Great Ace Attorney Adventures.
5.
This is a 5, baby.
100%
This
5.
is 4.5 because I'm not taking time off work, but I'm extremely excited for it.
I fucking love Ace Attorney, and these are. So I already played Great Ace Attorney 1, right? Because I played it through the fan translation. But for most people, these are 2 brand new Ace Attorney games. Do you know how exciting that is? Ace Attorney games are great, and we don't get them too often. And so to get 2 new ones this year on the same day, that is very, very exciting. So looking forward to that.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I think this was a 4 for me. This is like a you like Mina said, for 95, 99 honestly, % of players, this is a brand new game. And like it's for a series that we thought was done, you know?
And it's worth noting, right? Like Ace Attorney has taken a bit of a break. Like the last brand new entry was, not counting Great Ace Attorney 2, because obviously that we didn't get that. Was Ace Attorney 6, and that came out in 2016. That was 5 years ago. The series took that's not a small gap, you know?
That's a huge
That's
one,
a console lifespan. Well, used to be, but...
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And especially for a series that was getting entries, like, at a pretty regular clip, since the DS games started coming out, right? Like, it's been very rare for us to take a break for Ace Attorney, and then we took a 5-year break. And so now to get these 2 games, one of them, again, I've already played, I can already tell you it's a great, no reason not to look forward to this release.
Yeah.
100%.
That's the highest average so far. Congrats. It also cleans up really nice in HD.
Oh, it's very... And they did a lot of smart quality of life features, too. Like, having a story mode in Ace Attorney is actually really smart, Just letting the game play itself. Because, sometimes you're frustrated, you don't want to figure things out. Just let the game play itself, it's fine.
And there's a chapter select. You can just go straight to the last chapter and just know what happens. You don't even need to play the game.
Oh my god.
And see, for me, since I've already played the first game, I will just go through the first game in story mode, Because,
sure.
Like, it'll require not much effort out of me, but I'll get to refresh on the story. And it'll help me get set for the second game. So, yeah.
I can see why that's a cool mode, because like sometimes I think about replaying through like older Ace Attorney games, because I'm like, I want to like relive those stories and like get refreshed on them, but then I think about having to do all the other stuff in the middle, and I'm like, man, some of it in Ace Attorney, isn't super great here and there. You're like, what exactly do I have to do? And I don't want to have to figure that out again. So it's like, oh, this is a cool, like, if those games had that, I probably would have used it at some point, So it's cool that it's in here.
True.
It's definitely particularly great for replays, right? Like, so, for sure.
So now we're into August. That wraps up the month of July, right? Which, once again, for the summer, there was more there than you would think, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I would say the biggest release of the year, August 10th, Godfall's coming to PlayStation 4. We're all at 5, so I don't even need to stop on that one.
You're right.
Moving on to the next
on.
one.
We'll throw this one in there. We'll say Kena Bridge of Spirits on August 24th, right? So a pretty big gap there, to be honest. But Kena Bridge of Spirits, this is a PlayStation console exclusive, right?
Yeah.
It's got showed off a couple times.
Yeah.
It looks very pretty. You play as vaguely Pikmin-y, but anyways, how do you feel about this game at this point?
When the game...
You said it was only for PlayStation 5?
It's only for PlayStation... And it's also on PlayStation 4.
And PC. So it's a console exclusive.
And it's on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
But when it was announced, I was like a 3 bordering on 4. And now I'm like a 2 bordering on 1.
Wow.
Because...
What happened?
I don't know, like, I saw some footage of the game, and this is a game that is so pretty that I'm going to be... Any imperfections are going to stand out more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at animations that look bad in this game, I'm like, ew, you know? And it's a game that, like, again, it is so gorgeous, but I'm still not entirely sure if the game will hold up to the standards that the visuals are at, you know? Which is pretty important. Like, I don't, for as pretty as it is, if it plays mediocrely, like, why would I care about this game, right? So, yeah, I feel cautious about this game. I'm like,
Well, the developer, I'm trying to think of Ember Lab. I'm trying to think of what else they've done in the past.
This is their first game.
They made the Majora's Mask fan film, if you remember that thing.
They are those
guys?
guys?
So.
Oh my god.
So again, talented animators, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, that's the thing, right? This is one that I feel like it got delayed by like 4 or 5 months, right? And like this is a beautiful launch window game where you're just like, I want something on my PS5, I want it to look very pretty, and I'm willing to forgive imperfections, right? But when this thing's been out for almost a year, you sort of get out of that honeymoon phase. But
yeah.
I still think this looks... I'm very interested in this game, right? May wait for a price drop. So like a 3, you know?
Okay. I'm going to say 2.
I'll go for 2.
Yes, yeah, 2.
Fist bumping you right now.
It's there. It's like, like, I'm not going to repeat what you both said, but I think what does this... I would almost say a 3, but I think what does it in is... thinking about the fact that I would have to pay for it. So, yeah.
Sure.
Phil Spencer's ruining the industry.
He is. He's app storing the console space. Psychonauts 2, a game you will not have to be paying for, coming out the next day.
5, baby. 5.
This is a 5.
Hell yeah.
This is a 5.
Sequel to a great game, man.
I couldn't give more.
And apparently... Yeah, apparently they have a greater ability to do whatever they wanted to do that they couldn't do in the first game. I think Will said it at a podcast.
Well, it was.
This is very, very exciting.
They got This is technically a partially crowdfunded game, right? They got acquired midway through, and they say we got more funding because of the acquisition, so we could do more levels, basically.
Yeah.
Like, they had a lot of ideas that they were ready to cut, and then Microsoft swooped in, and then they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about paying the light bill anymore.
We got more shit to do.
We could do whatever we want. And the game got delayed because of it, but not, but just to increase the scope of the game, and that's super cool, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is one of the more undeniable success stories of Microsoft's whole acquisition strategy. Now, we'll see how the game turns out, of course, right?
Yeah.
But just from those words alone, that's really promising. That's what you want to hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I'm at a solid 4. I would be at a 5, but I need to get through the first game. But once I do get through the first game, I'll be at a 5. But so right now I'm at a 4.
Yeah, and I've seen gameplay demo of this game. It looks great.
It's so pretty too. It is like Psychonauts translates so well to HD. You know, that is a game that just looks very gorgeous. Yeah.
2 days later, so this is a packed little week. We have No More Heroes 3 for the Nintendo Switch.
Holy shit, it's the same week.
Yeah. No, I want to clear the record on something. Last week, we speculated nervously about why No More Heroes was not part of the Treehouse. We think we've cracked the code why. It's because it's the only segment that got age-gated on Nintendo's YouTube channel. And I think there was concerns that if you included it with everything else, it would get everything else tagged with an age gate as well.
Right.
So it was we were sort of like, is this a problem with the game? No, it's seemingly a problem with the fact that everyone spurts blood like a fountain when you kill them.
Yeah.
So you just want to correct that and then say this is a long anticipated game, but I think there's some nerves around it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you nervous?
Yeah. Well, with any Suda game, you know that the game is going to have style out the ass. It's gonna be so cool. The cutscenes are gonna be off the wall. You're gonna have fun visually watching this game, but playing the game is gonna be very mediocre in terms. If it's anything like any other Suda game I've ever played, which is a lot of them, playing the game is gonna be mediocre to okay. It has its moments.
I think like No More Heroes.
I think like
when you're playing as Travis in the missions is good, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I
was going to say like the main downfall for No More Heroes was like the other stuff, the minigame stuff that they did, like in the first one and the open world stuff. That was, and then they cut out in 2, which improved it greatly.
Still made you do shit, but they turned it into like retro NES style games. But they still made you do it. But yeah, it was a little bit better.
100%. They cut out a lot of the slog for sure. So here's hoping that they've learned and then kept to it.
The open world is back in 3. We know that much. It is.
Did
back.
any of you play Travis Strikes Again?
Yeah, I did, and it sucked. It sucked. It's so dumb. I hated it.
I wanted to play it, but then Brandon was like, "No, it sucks." So I was like, "Okay."
I played through it. I had not played 1 and 2 at that point. I just went straight to Travis Strikes Again. I actually kind of liked it. It was weird. It was very meta.
Well, that was what I was gonna say. It's like I love Travis Strikes Again as a narrative that's like, it's from the voice of Suda51. Travis is Suda. You know, like
that is Suda the game. Honestly, in like. Yeah, it ties all of his life's work together. It's a crazy game, and it was like a fever dream playing through that game. Honestly, you know, so I actually really liked it. Which I may be one of the few people on Earth to say that about Travis Strikes Again.
I would honestly compare it to Killer 7, right? Where like Killer 7 is a game where you're mostly walking literally in a straight line and then pressing a button to go in first person and shoot stuff, right? And like the shooting is not great.
No,
right?
It's not. But I love that game.
Yeah, I think that Travis Strikes Again has a similar thing. The thing about No More Heroes, I think the biggest worry is like I don't even think it's the gameplay. I think it's like performance at this point. Like every time that we see those trailers, I'm like, is the resolution supposed to look like this?
It's
like,
so blurry. Like, and if that's how it looks in trailers, Jesus, on the Switch, it's going to be so blurry. That thing is
put it on the Switch Pro.
That's a Switch Pro game. I'm looking forward to it though still, and so I'm at a solid 2.5.
I'm at a 3.
Yeah, I'm at like a 3. Yeah, No More Heroes 3.
3. Yeah.
And then the last game from Amazon Game Studios, their MMO New World, a game that got delayed because it was too racist according to playtesters. How are you looking forward to that one?
Oh my God.
What did you just say?
1.
What game? What?
New World.
Can I get a consensus for a 0?
Yeah, I don't even know what this is. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was.
Wait, I thought one was the default 0. There's another one
we've
lower.
changed the scale.
Okay, I'm going for 0.
I'm
going for 0.
Yeah. So there's that. That is the months of July and September. Really lean on July, August. I was looking at the word September on my screen. I am the brain of a child. July and August. Overall, how many games do you think you will be picking up in those 2 months time frames?
A lot.
We can list it. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
God.
None.
I'm picking
I
up
also
like
cut stuff
4
like
or 5. I lost count. It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot more than
Yeah.
you would think. And
It's
I,
like-
I cut stuff like I cut 12 minutes and like Death's Door, which both showed up at E3 conferences and stuff. Blaster Master 03's happening in there. Skatebird.
Man. 12 minutes.
The Silver's Case. Oh my god, that's a game that I'm interested
Oh,
in.
yeah.
As well.
It's a busy summer.
It's a busy summer.
It is a very busy
Man.
fucking Sunday. Jeez.
So yeah, so maybe if you were not aware of those games coming out, now you are. Let us know if you're buying any video games or if you're going into the woods never to be seen again.
Gamer boy summer. Let's go. Or
Let's
girl.
go. Or girl. Gamer people summer.
Gamer people summer. Let's go.
It flows.
Let's all play video games. Don't go outside. The sun, bad for you. You know, I read it online.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Yep.
Don't go outside. Play video games.
What if I go
You get
outside? What if
sunburn.
I go outside and play video games?
All right, if you want to bring your Nintendo Switch outside, play video
Bring
games.
my
sure.
Nintendo Switch outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Or bring your tablet or your phone, play XCloud. You can do that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, speaking of Nintendo Switch, I want to briefly talk about an interview that Doug Bowser did. I alluded to this last week, right? People asked him about the Switch Pro. He said, I don't know. He was being like, he put his little finger to his lip like he was a cute little
didn't do
baby,
that.
He may have.
Okay, I believe you now.
But he did also talk about, though, when he was asked about that, he said, we're not going to innovate just for technology's sake. But the other thing that's notable is if you look, the Switch is in the year 5. And if you look at most E3 showcases for a console's 5th year, they don't look like the one we just had. Right? Where we have games that
Sure.
are, Breath of the Wild 2 was a year off, and a bunch of games that are coming out this year. Right? Most consoles are winding down, and we think we are redefining what a console lifecycle looks like. Now, this is partially marketing speak. But
Yeah.
it is worth saying he's not necessarily wrong.
I don't think he's wrong at all. I don't even need a necessarily qualifier
Yeah.
there, right? The Switch is an aberration. It is it is an anomaly. It is like nothing about it makes sense about its life cycle. There has never been a system that has gone this long without a price cut for it to not yet hit its peak year. Like this thing continues to sell more and more each year, essentially. This year is looking like it's going to somehow pass last year, which was, everyone said, oh, the Switch did well because of Animal Crossing and COVID, and now a whole ass year later, it's looking like it's going to do even better than it did last year, right? And that's without a fucking price cut, This system is just on fire, and for a system to be like that in year 5 is crazy, and not just from a sales perspective, right? Like it is also like, when was the last time that a Nintendo system made it to like year 5, and then there was actually still games out on the horizon that were major tentpole titles?
Yeah.
Right?
Now, let's push
GameCube.
aside the Wii U.
Okay, I was just thinking.
No.
Twilight Princess.
I was really looking forward to playing Twilight Princess on the GameCube in 2006.
Because people say Wii U's different, right? But like the Wii, right? 2011 was Skyward Sword. What else?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the Wii had a disastrous final years. The Wii U had disastrous final years. GameCube, same deal. Same thing for the N64. The last couple home consoles have all been like this. The Super Nintendo was replaced in 5 years. And then even on the handheld side, like the Game Boy Advance, like the DS, like by year 5, like Black and White 2 came out, like a little bit. I mean, Black and White came out like around that time, and that was a big game, right? And like Sun and Moon came out like in year 5 of the 3DS, right?
Yeah, but besides that, it was like Federation Force and Robobot.
Yeah, but besides New Gen Pokemon, it was nothing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this time, like, we are going next year's year 6. We have a brand new Zelda game to look forward to. We have a huge Pokemon game to look forward to, and probably a whole another generation after that.
I was
right?
gonna say, yeah, year 7's gonna bring in fucking Gen 9.
Yeah, right. Splatoon is coming out next year. Like they have tentpole titles just already announced for next year and beyond, right? Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a tentpole title for this thing, right? Yeah. The Switch is clearly not going anywhere. Even if you didn't have rumors about a Switch Pro, right? Like there is no indication that they are done with this system anytime soon.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
When will it die? That's the thing I want. I want your uncles telling you when are they killing the Nintendo Switch.
All right.
So, and when I say kill, like obviously these things continue after the successor's out, right? But like, when will you start getting to those years of it?
Okay. Well,
the twilight years of the system.
The twilight years of the system.
My favorite movie. My uncle, like I said, works at PlayStation. So my uncle, he told me that the Switch actually is going to sell to Sony in 2022. So no, but God, that's such a hard question because like I feel like
will it be before the year 2025?
I think we could get a good 8 or 9 years out of this thing. We could.
So that would put us at what
2024?
2026?
Okay.
I think 2025. I'm going to say 2025. I'm just going to say we're going to get a good, solid 4 more years at least. 4 more years. 4 more years.
I'm going to say like 2023. No, 2022.
What?
Okay.
Are you stupid?
What? Fucking what?
You think this thing is being replaced next year?
We're so mean to Saf on this podcast.
I think they're going to focus more on the other one.
The Switch Pro?
No, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
that counts if Switch Pro gets an LSAP, that's the same. Unless it's a hard cutoff on all software on it, it's the same.
Well, it would be like the iPhone, right? You know how like at a certain point they get updates where they're like, we are no longer supporting this thing and older, right?
Yeah.
It would be like that. I thought Saf was going to say I think they're going to focus on mobile, and I thought I was just going to laugh really hard. But it's fine. So, Mina, what do you think?
No, that's what I meant. Like, I meant like they're going to start focusing more on the Switch Pro and like all this stuff like that. I'm sure they're going to have still the Switch in the background, but they're not going to be. That's not.
But
that's
not the Switch ecosystem. Like when is that base Switch not going to get brand new tentpole games?
Probably when Switch Pro dies.
Okay, so we need the Switch Pro dies.
We need a number.
2026.
Okay. We're getting 5 years of the Switch Pro. All right. Okay, so Brandon and Sab are kind of close, actually.
Yeah.
Mina?
I thought about this a lot.
Yeah, clearly.
I bet.
More than anyone should.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. But like again, like there is no like we are going to enter its peak year in year 6, year 5, maybe even year 6. Who knows, right? This thing is going to sell more or less 30 million units this fiscal year, right? So when that starts dropping off, it'll be a while. It's going to be a while. No reason to replace that, and no reason to leave that install base, right? And the other thing you have to think about, again, I brought up the tentpole releases because they're not going to release a system unless they have tentpole titles ready for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm going to say when the next Zelda game comes out after Breath of the Wild 2. So,
what are you talking about?
So, so I'm going to say, like, 2028?
You are insane.
How's it insane? How is that insane?
I think that's correct. I like here's the thing, because I know your theory is Nintendo does not want to launch any new system without Breath of the Wild.
No, I don't literally think like that. I don't think that the system is literally tied to Zelda, and it could launch a year before that. It could launch a year after that. Like or not after. No. It will launch. They're not gonna launch the next Zelda game before the next system.
They will not Skyward Sword this.
No. But I think, but like it's not just the Zelda team, right? Like the 3D Mario team will have a game released next year at the earliest, right? Like, so they're not gonna have another game ready for another fucking 4 years after next year, right? So at a minimum, you're already looking at 2026. So I feel like 2027, 2028, that's not too crazy, is it? Like, that's just another 2 years at that point. Like, if you're looking at where their development cycles are,
10-year lifespan is wild.
Yeah, but that's what, like, again, like, normally a system would have peaked by now. Like, that is, like, what I said is insane, but that's because what the Switch is doing is insane. Like, it is unprecedented completely. So, yeah, I'm gonna say, you know what? 10-year cycle, 2027.
Yeah, I think they're going third party. So, like, it doesn't really matter.
Tomorrow.
No, I do, one other quote, though, I do want to shout out, because I think this is very funny. They asked him about mobile, and he says, essentially, our smart device strategy has allowed us to reach consumers in 164 countries already. That's already loser talk. When companies say that type of language, there's loser talk. We believe we've been able to broaden that audience of people who have now experienced Nintendo games, and we have brought them deeper into the integrated hardware and software systems that you and I play. So basically, he's talking about mobile in past tense. It seems like they may have given up on mobile.
I mean, we got a report, like, early last year that, like, Nintendo Mobile was, like, at least internally, like, it was just done, right?
Yeah.
And that we're still getting, they just did a big partnership with Niantic, right? There's a Pikmin app coming out this year or whatever, right? But that's not a game that you're looking to make money on, right?
No.
Like, that's a cute little walking app featuring Pikmin, and I think that's literally just hey, we think Pikmin are a good way to get you to exercise, you know? Like, I think that clearly mobile is not a key part, because before the line was, we want mobile to be its own pillar, right?
Yeah, it was going to be the mythical third pillar. We've had several in their lifetimes.
Right, but now it's not, like, it's just not, because they've had multiple high-profile failures on mobile now, right?
Yeah.
Featuring their biggest IPs. You can't even say they didn't try, right? Fucking Mario Kart. Their literal biggest IP, right? It is their biggest game on the Switch. It is their biggest IP. That they tried their best. They did a huge Mario Kart game for mobile, and no one cared about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, like, they're done with mobile. Like, outside of, like, little cutesy stuff like Pikmin walking app, yeah. Can I have an addendum to when I said the Switch would die? I don't think the Switch, I think we are pure iPhone model now, by the way. I think the Switch is the forever console. Yeah. Like, we're not going anywhere, you know? Like, the Switch is Nintendo hardware, like, perfected in a lot of ways, right? I don't mean literally, like, like, the specs or whatever.
The
right?
Joy-Con? Not a problem, you know?
It does everything that you want from a Nintendo system. It's a home console, it's a handheld, it's got motion controls, it's got button controls, like, it's got everything, you know? Like, there's no need to move on from this hybrid system, and if it's always going to be a hybrid, the Switch name's always going to work, you know? I think we are... And it's going to get to the point where things are just more iterative anyway, right? I think this is the forever system. I think at some point the original Switch will lose support, obviously, right? That game's not like an forever. Yeah. But this is it. We are in the final form of Nintendo hardware.
Okay.
For the foreseeable future.
All right. I generally agree with that. But we're going to see if we agree in a tournament. We are preparing a tournament, the E3 Coliseum. Take that, Jeff Keighley. We own it now because you gave up on E3. Dang. So with E3 done, right? We wanna say, let's look back on some of the biggest moments of E3 past. We're gonna put them head to head, throw all the other precious memories away, and just have one shining moment left. All right. So this week we're going to do 4 matchups. Next week we're going to do four matchups. Then they'll keep going until there's one left. All right? If you've ever watched a sport game before, you may be able to figure it out. All right. So, and you three will be the votes, because if it's an odd thing, we need an odd number. You know?
Yeah, we need an odd number. There's no ties here.
Okay, so first, I'm gonna give you two side by side. First up is Reggie. His first appearance. Do you remember what he said?
Taking ass and taking names.
Never
And
forget.
we're about making games, right?
You know, I always forget about that part. That's a pretty important part of it.
that was sort of the joke. Yeah, it was that part. But this is not just like this is like a singular thing. At the time, it was like, oh, that's who's this weird man, right? But I think we have to say that in some way, Reggie's like rise as a figure is tied to E3. You know, like my body is ready.
Yeah.
Like Reggie. We only care about Reggie because of his E3 moments. Like, yeah, obviously, you know, like, like that's where we saw him. That's where he was at his weirdest. You know, like, and it's kind of where like the cult of personality around like Nintendo like people kind of,
and the cult of personality around video game like personalities in general.
You know, like the only reason people care about like people making memes about Jim Ryan, right? Is because of Reggie.
Yeah. Versus Kaz Hirai, another man that's had memes made about him, on stage announcing the PS3 will be launching at $599 US.
Man, that's hard.
Now, and the thing, this is also emblematic of that whole E3 conference. In here, there's giant enemy crab. There's Ridge Racer. This is a mythical E3 conference.
I love
this is like tone deaf, arrogant Sony at their finest.
Yeah. So this is a hard one. But what do you think is your first impression?
So we were voting which one is just more iconic?
Which is the most important, yeah. It doesn't have to be the greatest, but the one that like stuck around the most, you know, like.
Well, here's the thing. So, I'm gonna take that and make an argument for one of them, and that's Reggie, because $5.99, like Sony has fully turned it around from that since then, right? Like, it set the course of a generation, right? But even then, I would say half a generation, right? And then you know they turned it around like circa like 2010 or whatever, right? It wasn't that much longer until they turned it around. Whereas Reggie, like, I mean, you still see that influence today, right? Like, you know, there's a reason people put their it's. And this guy was just a meme machine for years to come. You know?
And it didn't feel like it was on purpose, right? Where like now people desperately want to make a Reggie. Right.
Oh yeah. But like Reggie, like I'm not gonna say it happened naturally, but I think Reggie was just a very weird guy, and that's why like the memes happened, because people just kind of latched onto that, right? Like, so, I'm gonna say Reggie.
Saf, Brandon, what do you think?
It's a hard one.
It is.
I'll let Saf, you go first.
Damn it. I don't know. It's like I feel so like $5.99 was a huge moment because like it really was like a big shocker of a fucking thing. I really holy shit, did fucking PlayStation 3 tank because of it.
Also, another thing in favor of the Reggie thing, like a year or two later when Iwata called back to it, and that was a fun little moment too, where he was like, he did a rhyme in the same way. I forgot what the rhyme was, but and then at the end of it, he was like, and I kicked his you know what, and that was really funny.
He beat up Reggie canonically.
Yeah.
Nintendo has an unsafe work environment. I'm gonna need an answer.
I'll go for Reggie.
Yeah,
he seems like more.
I guess I'll go for Reggie too. They both. That's a tough one, but
that's a tough one. Reggie, I personally may have went for $5.99, but I don't have a voice here. You know. All right, next up, we have two of it. We have the Betrayalton, a event that made one of my favorite copy pastas of a post of all time. Final Fantasy 13 was on stage announcing Final Fantasy is no longer the realm of PlayStation. It is coming to the Xbox 360. and
multi-platform.
Yeah. And this is the course. If you remember if you've heard people reference that, I don't know if you know a lot about Japanese culture, but I do. And Square Enix just shot themselves in the foot. That was because of this, right? And then in comparison, we have Zelda finally growing up. We want Lord of the Rings Zelda. We want a Zelda for grown-ups. Twilight Princess is shown on stage. A bunch of 30-year-old men, games journalists, all lose their mind. And Miyamoto walks on stage with a sword and shield and poses for everybody. Now, I think this one is interesting because it's the first, I think, like, time that E3 reactions were shared, right? And now that is so much of the culture of E3 is reaction videos, right? And it was like Nintendo was listening to us after the baby game of Zelda. Now we get a grown-up video game, you know?
Yeah. I already made up my mind. It's Miyamoto with the fucking sword and shield on the stage. Like, when I think of E3 moments, on stage E3 moments, that's the one that always pops in my head. I think that's just one of the most defining things. Because nerds just lost their shit. You know? That's just the number one. The first thing I thought of when I think of just nerds losing their shit over stuff online, it's that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that for me. It's Miyamoto with the sword and shield.
The sword and board. Mina, Saf, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with,
I agree with
I'm
that.
gonna go with the same one. Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense, I think. I think that one, I agree. Alright, next up, I tried to look for more recent ones for this one. And I had to go back to, like, 2016. So not that recent. But, first up, Keanu makes us think Cyberpunk will be a good video game. Is how I've labeled this entry, right?
That was 2016?
That was 2019, I should clarify.
I was
the next
like,
one
what
is
the
2016.
fuck?
No,
Okay.
no.
Oh, for both of them, okay.
Yeah, so we were in the middle of that Keanu renaissance, right?
Yeah.
Everyone was sharing all the memes of him. Everyone loved him, right? So
Still
everyone still loved CDPR at that time.
We still love Keanu Reeves, for the record.
Sure, of course. Not as much about CDPR at this point. But, you know, they were still... Cyberpunk was the most anticipated game ever, and the most popular actor was in the most popular anticipated video game. And he was on stage. He had that You're beautiful thing.
You're breathtaking. Right? The guy...
You're breathtaking.
Yeah, he said the game's breathtaking, and then, you know, the guy said, you're breathtaking. And he said, no, you're breathtaking.
You're breathtaking. Everyone had a nice...
incredible moment.
Now, that game was a lie. But do we blame Keanu for that?
No.
Who can say?
We can't.
Yes.
No.
That was the moment where it all went to shit. You heard it here first.
Blame Keanu for anything ever.
And then 2016, the thing I had was Hideo Kojima makes Konami look even stupider. Now, if you remember, this was in the middle of all the behind-the-scene troubles of Metal Gear Solid 5, right? Kojima had been fired from Konami. They were public enemy number one, and then there was reports that Kojima was working with Sony, but he showed up on stage at their E3. They had that magic walkway he went down, and not only was he there to say, I'm making a video game, I have a trailer for you, Norman Reedus has a fetus, and this is Death Stranding. Right. So I think that was one where, like, E3 2016, very good for Sony overall. But that's one that's like, people love a good, like, sticking it to a corporation moment on stage from another corporation, sticking it to another corporation. And so that one, that was the other thing I had listed.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Keanu.
I'm gonna go with,
I think the Kojima moment was good, but, like, it you have to be fair, like, people were still doubting it at the time, though, even though, like, we saw a trailer, but people were like, oh, like, at the time, it was very much, oh, this game's not gonna come out till PS5, right? He proved them wrong later, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that moment was emblematic of, like, Kojima's, like, success, I guess? I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because my theme of that was games that, like, that got extreme hype at launch, and then maybe when they came out, I mean, Cyberpunk was a disaster where like Death Stranding was divisive, right? So they're not the same.
No.
But I sort of went.
But I think the Keanu moment is more memorable. That
Sure.
said, does Cyberpunk's reception like cool on
Does it soil it?
Does
Right.
it kill that moment a little bit?
No, I don't think so, because you can remove Cyberpunk from that moment, and it's just because people just love Keanu Reeves.
People
so much
just
that-
really liked Keanu riffing with that guy being like,
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
Like,
that
not
was
to spoil it, but I would say that's more removable than like Shenmue 3 in the Year of Dreams, right? Because it was
Right.
the moment was more removed from the video game, you know.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so it's just even if it amounted to nothing, it was just a memorable moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then I have here. I'm gonna say this. These two are clearly tied because there's no perhaps greater E3 tradition than demos that aren't real, that are just a lie. When we're just showed a video game that does not exist. So I have Killzone 2 is literally impossible versus Watch Dogs is literally impossible.
Oh man. These are both important moments of literally impossible, stupid demos.
Yeah. So Killzone was a trailer that later they said was not gameplay, but is clearly directed to make you think it is gameplay.
Yeah.
Where Watch Dogs was a demo that showed off stuff that just didn't happen in the video game.
Also on a graphical level, it did not come close.
No.
Like that demo still looks better than a lot of PS4 games today, right? Like it.
Yeah.
I'm going. This is just a bias of what I saw live versus what I didn't, to be honest.
Sure.
But so I would go with Watch Dogs, because I think also though Watch Dogs kind of. There was this trend early in the generation where people would compare what we saw at E3 to the final release. Like, I think Watch Dogs is, I think, when you could say Digital Foundry got really big, right?
Yeah.
But because people really wanted to see the comparisons, not just to how it looked at launch, I mean, at the unveil, but also how it looked against each other or whatever. Like, Watch Dogs is very emblematic of people like...
Watch Dogs is the first time I ever learned the term bullshot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, that is... Even though, like, that bullshot applies to Killzone, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I think Watch Dogs is kind of where that phrase even started to popularize, right?
Now, part of that's just the nature of one of them was in a social media era, right? Like,
sure,
I would say Killzone is arguably more offensive to me.
Killzone is more offensive, I think, but I think... but like, you know, even if it is because of social media, but like that's undeniable, right? Though, right?
Sure,
like,
yeah, it's just an
effect.
inherent difference. Sure, yeah.
And so yeah, I'm gonna go with Watch Dogs. Also, because this was, I think, even in the context of that E3, this demo was so fascinating because the narrative of that E3 was Ubisoft won, you know, because Nintendo shit their pants, Sony shit their pants, Microsoft shit their pants. They were all focused on dumb bullshit, right? And then Ubisoft just came out with a really strong showing and then ended it on this game that looked like the all game, right? And that Watch Dogs was kind of people's biggest takeaway for that E3, and also like the biggest thing people were excited for the launch of these new consoles. So
yeah. Now I will say Killzone had a similar thing among like the PlayStation fanboys at that time, right? This was the Halo killer. This was the thing that you at 360 could never dream of doing, right? That type of stuff. So both of them occupy that kind of space, but yeah, all your points still stand, you know.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think I would go with Watch Dogs as well.
Okay, and Saf?
Yeah, I would have to go with Watch Dogs as well, considering because like Killzone's thing, like Killzone being like being a trailer that was just impossible, like it's a CGI graphic that did not stop happening. I guess like that still goes on in terms of like people just showing out CGI trailers and shit like that, and people mistaking it for like the way they would expect games to play at some points. So yeah, I'll just go for like the other one, Watch Dogs.
It almost feels like because of Watch Dogs, also people are really afraid of bullshot sometimes, even though honestly they still happen. But they are so scared of that Watch Dogs double backlash, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was that year where Ubisoft was public enemy number one, right? Watch Dogs and the Assassin's Creed Unity that launched super broken, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they should be more public enemy number one now than then, but whatever. So there it is. Those are the 4 matchups. The winners will be facing off against each other in a couple weeks. Reggie will face off against Miyamoto with intercompany turmoil.
Boy.
Oh, damn.
And
See, that's how you know we
Keanu-
picked the right one, you know? That's an exciting matchup, you know?
Yeah, and Keanu will face off against the iconic Aiden Pierce and his iconic hat. So we'll see how those go. But that is the podcast for this week. Before we go, I did prepare a Uncle Leak this week, right? Where I've contacted each of the other members of this podcast. They all answered this question beforehand, all right? But we will now go over it. So coming up next week, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is releasing. I'm going to go into a fresh incognito window, so not corrupted by my search history. I will type in the title of the video game. I will look to the 3rd video result that is given to me. What did your uncles tell you would be the view count on that video? Brandon.
My uncle told me that the view count was 75K, 75,000.
Okay. Mina, what did your uncle say?
My uncle is saying that it's going to have 135k views.
Okay. And then, Saf, what did your uncle tell you?
My uncle told me it's going to be 650,000 views.
Let's go.
Christ.
That's a big jump.
We have a big gap.
If I were to make a bet, I would bet on Saf.
Yeah.
That explains why you skipped over me.
But you know, the 3rd result, you know, who knows? It could just
That's
be
the thing. I didn't want it to be first, because that one, obviously, it would be high, you know?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Who pays attention to the 3rd result? But yeah, your uncles clearly do, because you all gave definitive answers.
Yeah.
We did not have leaks from our uncles last week. So Brandon, do you just want to do plugs and the sign off?
Sure. Why not, right? Okay. Well, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, which I hope you did if you made it this far, unless you're hate listening, because I know hate watching is the thing, so maybe people hate listening to podcasts, who knows? If you did, let us know in the comments, please. And hit us up on Twitter. In fact, just give us a follow on Twitter, where you can find us on social media, where we post where the episodes go live. But follow us on your favorite podcast listening service, whether that is like Spotify, Apple, what is it now? Apple Podcasts?
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. I almost said iTunes, but I think it's Apple Podcasts now. So rate us 5 stars there. That really helps us get seen if you really like the podcast, and it would help us keep going. And whatever you use to listen to your podcast, give us a follow, comment, share it with your friends if you really liked it, and if you want to support the podcast even more so, we do have a Patreon. Just look up My Uncle Works at Nintendo, and find our Patreon page. And for just $1 a month, you can support the podcast, get access to our Discord server, listen to the episodes when we record them live, and also we have a second show called My Uncle's Game Club, where we play a game for 2 weeks. We get together and talk about that game. We are going to be talking about Outer Wilds coming up pretty soon, and then we're going to be playing The World Ends With You. So a couple games that are coming up that are going to be pretty cool to talk about. And we also had a couple episodes already, so go check those out as well. And if you support the Patreon, you actually get a chance to choose one of our games, where we raffle off every 6 weeks. So if you want to do that, if there's just a game you really want us to play, you can do that as well. And we would really appreciate it. We appreciate everybody who already does. You guys are amazing. And we have a Twitch, twitch.tv/myunclenintendo, where you can hang out and watch us play video games. So give us a follow so you know when we're live. We'll also post on Twitter or whatever, or in the Discord if you're part of that as well. So lots of ways to interact with us and talk about stupid games, because that's what we love around here. So thank you all for listening so much. I appreciate it. And I just want to say before we go that I like Sonic Advance. It's a very good game. And I think people forget about Sonic Advance all the time. So happy birthday, Sonic. Happy 30th. If you want to play a Sonic game that nobody ever talks about, go play the Sonic Advance games. There's 3 of them. Bye.